the Bomb Burner and ZingoTV apps in both their respective app store and iOS, Android devices. While you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. Both apps are free, just in case you're wondering. ZingoTV is also available on Google, Chromecast, Amazon Fire and Fire TV sticks, Roku and Roku sticks, and all smart TVs 2016 forward. Thank you very much. Before I start, I'd like to say this man here, everything you've been seeing about my career, this man single-handedly took me from the bottom, from zero, to where I got before COVID hit, before everything. He took me from zero to number one. And this is someone that you don't see in the front. It's someone who's always in the back, does the work quietly. You never notice it happening. I love this moment, and this is why you see the tree. This is why you see the sweater. It's a special moment for me. So thank you very much for being here. Before I start, RG man, Ryan Grant is more than just a coach. I want to say he's an accomplished national level boxer with various tournament titles, over 20 years of coaching experience, developing fighters to a championship level. He has trained numerous UFC fighters and boxing champions, including Logan McGuinness, who I sparred with a few times. I remember he was good. Steve Rolls, Sean Pearson, and Mitch Gagnon, and myself. Coach.
That's a flattering introduction, my man. Like you do a lot of work. You do the work, Kalung. I'm just happy to be a part of the journey, man. You're one of my kids, man. I love you a lot, bro.
Thank you so much for being here, man. Man, it's unreal right now. I just want to get into it, brother.
Let's go.
How did you get into boxing? People want to know. So many people are so happy right now that you're here.
How I got into boxing? Realistically, back in the days, when my brothers immigrated from Jamaica, we ended up finding in the area, Ville Saint Laurent. There's a gym in like a community center.
Montreal.
Yeah, in a community center in Ville Saint Laurent, right at like Laurentian and DeSales, which was it was like I think it could be like the Saint Laurent Community Center with like ping pong and I
Yeah.
think they might have basketball. And they had a little
For
boxing room
youth.
in there,
Yeah.
right? And I think it was one of my brothers actually just spotted out the spot, right? And I think at the time Russ Amber was like a young coach in the place helping out some of the kids. Anyhow, that place ended up shutting down,
Yeah.
and all the fighters had nowhere to go. So I think Russ and Howard Otis, a couple of young guys, I want to say Barrington Francis,
Yeah.
they all got together and training outside, getting to the
Outside.
gym,
Damn.
training in parks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then after, like the city came to them and offered them an opportunity. There's an old fire hall that was available, and they wanted to do something in there and do it as a city program, and that was the beginning of Ring 83, right?
Wow.
So from
You
them
just answered
days,
a question I was going to ask later on. So that was the beginning of Ring 83.
yeah.
Okay.
So from them days is when I used to just realistically just piggyback and go to the gym. I could go to the gym at them days when I was a small kid. Like I want to say, I'd be in the gym, been in the gym club since I was probably like 6, 7 years old. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And
I wish.
at them times, I used to just play box, fool around, shadow box. Russ would give me a little attention, do my thing, but I was more like a sponge, just studying and seeing what's going on and seeing how
Yeah.
preparations and things would happen within the gym, within the guys, and you're seeing who's really taking it on from who's. And I
For
think that's where
serious.
like a little sixth sense come on, and for me see who's real from who's fake, even to now, from who's really dedicating the work on a real level. Um, and at the end of training, no lie, every day 7:30 or be like 7:15. Me and Russ used to wrestle in the ring, right?
Yeah.
So Russ used to be Roddy Piper, and I used to be Jimmy Superfly Snuka, right?
Okay.
And every night we used to go at it. Tuesday nights used to come over to the crib.
Yeah.
We'd wrestle, and I'd leave back with him. My brothers would leave, and I'd leave with
Yeah.
Russ to come back. And we'll always have like my mom used to cook spaghetti on Tuesdays, right? So Russ used to come over Tuesday nights, and that was just my routine since I was like, man,
7 to
since I left Montreal. I want to say
man.
since I was like probably 19 years old. You know what I mean?
Damn, man. You miss Montreal, huh? Oh, you're always back there anyways for fights, so we'll be back there, I'm sure, in a little bit.
We always we go back for
We go
business.
back from time to time. So that's how, did you play like any other sports?
Yeah, man. I was big in football, and I was a half decent basketball player.
Okay.
So that was my like those are my three sports that I used to always intertwine growing up as a kid. Like football, I played a
Yeah.
couple of years for the city team, which would have been like the Saint Laurent Spartans and the Saint Laurent Titans.
Yeah.
And then after during that whole time, during my whole high school year, I was on the high school basketball team from grade
Yeah.
7 to grade 11. Um,
That definitely helped, I think, yeah, in your
yeah,
boxing.
man. Yeah, man. I mean, I used to go
Sure.
to certain practices, like good at basketball practice in the morning, 7:30, then go to
Yeah.
class, and then from class, sometimes you'd have a basketball game, and then from the basketball game, I'll leave and go to the gym to go work out,
What?
and then after, yeah, man. And some days I would leave basketball practice in the morning, have
Yeah.
school, have football practice, and then leave football practice to finish the last little bit of training or sparring
Just
at the gym,
yeah,
and juggling in the whole
active.
thing, man. Yeah, man. It
But
was.
boxing, what was it about boxing that attracted you, like specifically?
Um,
Why boxing?
Boxing was a sport to me where it was like there's no one else to be the man except for you.
Mm,
You know what I mean, in other sports, you could pass the ball, you could hand off a play, you could set back and do something else, but
mm-hmm,
you can't hand off anything in a one-on-one combat. You know what I mean? Like
mm,
it's on you at the end of the day. And it used to be rough with me, man, because my brothers used to tell me, man, if you're gonna do this, you gotta. It's a lot of sacrifice. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's like real life. You know what I mean?
yeah. Of course,
If
it's
you
a
don't
fight.
take things if you don't take things serious in what you're trying to
Hmm.
achieve in real life, man, like life will knock you out quicker than any
Yeah,
punch will hit you in the face. You know what I mean?
that's why boxing is, man. Boxing in life is number one, hand in hand. You
Yep.
know. So boxing specifically because life, the relationship. Okay, there. I
And
like that. What was it?
I think it was easy for me because I was just around it every day. You know what I mean? I
And
was
you saw your
around.
brothers doing it. You just grew
Yeah,
up
I was
around
just
it.
like, yo,
Ross doing it.
this is what we're supposed to. This is what we do. You know what I mean? That was
Mm.
just in my mindset. Like, okay, this is what it is. At the time, Russ was distributing for Ringside, Ringside
Yeah, no, I
Boxing
remember those
Equipment.
days.
He used to be a distributor for Ringside Canada. So like some
Mm.
days, even after school or my summer job, even as a
Yeah,
kid, I was working summer jobs at the age of like 8 years old with Russ, like packing
in
boxes.
the hardware. Yeah, I worked there just a little
Yeah,
bit, not too long.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
in the rival.
his parents used to
Mm.
have Canadian buckle. They used to run
Okay,
belts
maybe
like belt
buckle. What is
buckles.
it? Okay, okay.
They used to run belt buckles for all like distribution all around. Like I want to say from like Zellers to Sears to everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
man.
Those are the
No,
days.
that's man. We're gonna talk more about Russ and what was it about the boxes back in those days that separated, like the difference, the expectations from back in those days to now. You know, sometimes we'll talk about that in the gym. What was the expectations? Just the differences, you know, between those boxes back then and boxes now. It doesn't even have to be famous fight. It's just the mentality or in general.
I think with the way things are now to the way they were back in the day, and to me back in the day, to me it was like it wasn't too long ago. You know what I mean?
Mm,
But I feel like the fighters now have accessibilities on hitting the limits real quick just
mm,
on marketing instead
yeah,
of actually
fighting.
resilience. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And passion. A lot of
mm,
people don't make it too far in real life. I'm not just talking about fighting. I'm just talking about day to day stuff. When people are trying to look
mhm,
for money, Kalunga, they can't find it.
mm,
You know what I mean?
mm,
Because they're looking for
mm.
that. They're looking for it now, and you can't find
Yeah,
things now. You know what I mean?
yeah,
If
yeah.
you're passionate about things and you just know that there's a process in things to make your heart get you there in
Mm,
comparisons to trying to get it there fast, like this instant life, like
yeah,
this
for
is
sure.
drug, this
Yeah, no,
the
for sure.
internet and everything, that
Yeah,
now factor,
yeah.
it can't apply to what we do, like in our
Mm,
stuff. I'll give you an example. We'll talk about the instant life. You'll see now, like Jake Paul is fighting Floyd
yeah.
Mayweather. This guy, and it's an exhibition. I get it. The guy made his name, and he has a zillion followers on social
Yeah,
media. And take
yeah.
my hats off to him. That's fantastic. But then you
Hmm.
got a guy like Mapunda Kalunga that's trying to bust his ass from being a refugee kid to trying to
Yeah,
make shit work.
yeah.
It,
No, it's true. It's,
it's sort of
but you know what? I don't even mind it because I think Floyd earned the right. Only him. I think he earned the right, so he can make that money.
yeah, and I mean,
Anything else, you know.
the thing is, what people don't understand is that
But the instant gratification, they look at that and they don't realize that it took a while for Floyd to get to that. He
yeah,
didn't. He wasn't always money. He was, you know what I mean. But
but
people see that and they see, oh, I want that now. Nah, man, that's not how it works.
and it's
I know what you're
also
saying.
that but also people don't realize that at this point at the stage of the game with a superstar like Floyd, it's a show.
Mm.
You know what I mean? This is not it's not a fight like how you're
No, he's
fighting.
gonna knock him out. He's gonna go and beat this guy, even if this guy's a heavyweight.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I want to ask, who are some of the fighters making some noise back in the days? Like when you were coming up locally or internationally, who are some of the fighters on the spot? Who were the ones?
Um.
Obviously, Roy was at the top. We know
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
Roy was the guy. I mean, even my brother fighting Roy was a special
of
moment being
course,
around that for
of
the whole week.
course,
I was there. I was
of
out there for the
course.
whole fight week. So Floyd was just like, whoa, like we're out here. We're out here. This is it. You know what I mean?
Mm,
But guys that I used to love back in the days, man, and I used to always try to emulate these guys in the gym would
yeah.
be like Meldrick Taylor
Oh
was
yeah.
one of my
Oh yeah.
favorites
He's
because
smooth.
he's fast, you know.
He throws a lot of
Um,
combinations.
yeah, the defensive of like a Pernell Whitaker, you know what I mean.
Mm.
The punch accuracy as like Alexis Arguello, you know what I
Oh,
mean.
nice
Um,
length, wiry,
yeah.
accurate.
Guys, Hector Camacho was a big deal back in
Mm.
my time growing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, who else was a lot of
Were there
80s?
any Canadian guys back in those days? I don't.
Yeah, I'm
Is there any Canadian? I know
back.
your brother was killing it.
Well, those guys were more in the amateur scenes, like in the '80s. I'm like,
Mm.
I mean, in the '90s, right?
Mm.
I'm trying to break through eras
Yeah.
now, but like in the early '80s in like Canada and I'll say we'll say even Quebec, because that's what I grew up seeing
Yeah.
around the area. It was like Victor Salvatore was a stud, little flyweight, featherweight,
Mm.
speedy. Had
Mm.
like a brotherness about him, like a little
Yeah.
he was
Slick.
nice, though. Yeah, a little slick, cool
Mm.
Italian cat. Um, Barrington
Oh,
Francis is another guy that you should probably get him on. I'll get him on
oh,
the show.
oh, for sure, man. Yeah, no, send these guys my way, and I look forward to having any of these guys.
Yeah.
What do you think separates these guys, like these top guys, like that? You know, like people like Crawford, Spence, Canelo, top guys. Those are the top guys I like at least. What do you think separates these guys from the rest?
I think with them guys, like Crawford he's been my favorite for the last 5 years.
Oh, for
Before people
sure.
even talk about Crawford, that was my guy. He's mean, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and his his will to want
Mm.
will never stop. You know what I mean? Like you can see
Over
that.
you. He's
Yeah,
will to
like
one over. Yeah.
I didn't say will to win, will to want,
Yeah.
because he
To
looks
want.
like he
Yeah.
just wants more. Like at the same time,
Yeah.
and he's passionate about the thing. As much as he's
Yeah.
celebrating his victories and stuff, you can see like he's doing it
Serious.
for some. There's a purpose why he's doing. He's not doing it for the fame, because he's not even a bashful guy. He's not an outspoken
Mm.
individual. Like he's not one of these guys that's going to be on the mic and talking a bunch of crap to try
Yeah.
to sell the fights. He's just doing it to try to better his family, better his community, better his children, and get things going. I cheer for guys like that. You know what I mean? Like
Man, he's so. Would you say he's your pound for pound?
right now, yeah. He's been my
Yeah.
pound for pound for I'll say for maybe the last year and a bit now.
Okay. So he's number one. I
Yeah,
agree. I agree with that.
yeah, man.
What are some of the places? Because I know you traveled a lot with boxing. What are some of the favorite places you traveled at, and what are some of the best experiences there? Whether it was just boxing or even music, and we'll talk a little bit about music.
Yeah. Oh wow. Colombia, you know
Because I
what?
know you've been around, man. You've
I've
got
been to a
like
lot of
Europe,
places.
man.
I'm blessed to say I've been to certain
Yeah,
places I don't even remember. You know
yeah.
what I mean? But
Some places.
I can't zero down one specific place to
Mm,
say this place was unbelievable.
better, yeah.
I would just say, you know what? I always say with my travels, I try to take something away from there. If it's a food, if it's an experience, if
Mm,
it's a visual, if it's a
mm,
moment. One thing
yes.
that's the winning thing with being
Mm,
blessed. You too, like you've traveled
yeah,
with what
man.
you're doing and fighting it
I love
and
it.
being a musician.
Yeah.
Um, when you get it's the friendships, man, that you make when you're on
Mm,
the road, man. You know what I mean? Like
yes.
some of my favorite friendships that I have is through boxing and through
Yeah.
music and touring
Yeah. No,
and music.
same here.
You know what I mean?
Same here, man.
That to me that's bigger than seeing the Eiffel Tower. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
I
no,
mean
for sure.
that's
That's
and
the
the,
life.
yeah, you know.
That's the life, and that process, like seriously living it and understanding the process, like you already know. You already know it in your heart. That's all I want to say. You already know. You already know it, and
Yep,
seeing it, and obviously doing it more than just thinking it. The action, right?
yep.
How was it? So you were a fighter before. How was it transitioning from fighter to trainer?
I
How was
have.
that mentally? Because like it
It
must
was
have been a different, you know.
honestly, I would tell you, it was. I think I was in denial for a long time because I would always feel like even making that transition. It started when I was still in school in Montreal. I just had problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I know,
And
because you had power, man.
my bones can't manage. If it's called power, I think I just have bad bones.
Bah!
But I think in the beginning I was just like still like trying to work with guys, going into the gym, sparring guys, even though I felt like I can't do this. I can't
Yeah,
manage. Even throwing a jab would hurt like my shoulder and stuff. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And I was start teaching a recreational boxing class at the college I was going to at Vanier College, right?
Okay, Vanier.
So I was teaching that with and all the students in the class were like the teachers that go to
Mm.
the school,
Oh, okay,
right?
okay.
So my first notion, this is my first teaching job ever, like in 1990, maybe 96,
Yeah,
97, right? And
yeah,
I'm like, yo, how am I gonna be running this thing with these teachers looking at me, this young kid in this thing? And
yeah.
I was on the Quebec team at the time, so I was like, they had this program called Sport d'études. So
Mm-hmm,
I had I could only have a certain course load because I was representing the province in
mm-hmm.
provincial sports, right?
Okay, okay, okay.
So some of the teachers knew that, right?
Yeah,
So anyhow, I would be running the program and I'm like, I gotta teach these teachers like how these
and they look.
teachers would
Yeah,
teach me. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So I
yeah,
can't be brash, I can't be loud, I gotta be very sensitive, I have to
yeah,
over explain and
yeah.
I think that experience, Kalunga, honestly, I can remember it as today. It was like in a dance studio upstairs in the sports
Mm,
complex of Vanier, right? And I
yeah.
think that experience had the teachers coming on the program. I was teaching at my college for like I
Mm.
want to say maybe 2 years. That's just like 4 semesters, right? And
Just going through that transitioning.
yeah, and I was getting good money teaching like
Yeah,
$50 a class in
yeah.
1997, man.
And being comfortable,
Yeah,
confident
yeah.
in handling the class.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
how I started. I was doing a lot of them type of classes first. I was teaching at like the shopping mall gyms in the shopping mall.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember the Cary Square.
The Carry Square. What
The
was
Cary
that
Square. This was on
close to?
this was like on the Cary Highway. You know where the orange julep was? You remember orange julep, the big orange?
Oh, probably not, man. It's just too
Anyhow,
much.
there's a mall like inside the place. It
Mm.
wasn't a popular mall. Like it was not like it was an old people mall. We'll call
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? I was teaching like the boxing classes in there, and that's what led into other things. And then slowly, I started to get into the transition in training young amateurs. Right?
What was something that you wish you knew? Like, so you turned to be a trainer. What was something that you wish you like, man, if I knew this when I was fighting, I would have been a bad man. Because now you're a different mentality,
For
as
sure.
a trainer. So what was something that you learned a little bit later on that was like, man, if I knew this, like, well, just one, and we'll keep the rest for us.
Yeah. I'll say one is and I say it to a lot of the guys in the gym. Somebody I think I say it to you sometime is control your emotion. You
Mm,
know what I mean? Sometimes I used to. My thing is back in the
yeah,
days. I used to have a black my uniform before a fight.
yeah,
I used to put on my white army fatigue pants, my white
yeah.
camouflage pants. I used to put on a black championship hoodie, right?
Mm,
I still have my Walkman, right? The headphones, and I'm putting my Wu Tang. I'm putting
okay,
hardcore, and I'm
okay. So you're
mad. You know what I
getting the
mean?
vibe,
I'm getting the vibes from 9 o'clock in the
the
morning. You know what I mean?
spirit.
Right? I used to walk slow. I used to walk slow in the house. I used to pick up things like I'm trying to conserve so much energy, which was
Mm,
pointless. You know what I mean? I was just playing in my
mm,
own head, right? So if I
mm.
knew how to just relax and just have
Manage.
fun, like how we do it, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
we
It
have a
took a
good time
while though
on
to
the road.
even learn that.
Yeah, I mean, but
Yeah.
now, like you see, like when it's time for us to even go to work, I mean, it's a job. You know what I mean? We have
Yeah.
fun. We
Yeah.
always make sure we have fun at the end, and the fun's got to be
Yeah.
some real fun. So that means we got to kick some ass. You know
Oh,
what
for
I mean?
sure. I love kicking it. I would love kicking it. I'll say kicking it, kicking black. How have you been keeping up with the current situation, man? How have you been, so much has happened since, but how you been keeping up?
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's rough, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. I miss the gym. I miss you guys. I miss just the regularness of
Likewise. Miss it.
how things used to be.
Yeah.
It sucks because I'm not as much as it's us and it's a business. I feel bad for like all of the small businesses worldwide that just can't operate. There's a lady that runs a Greek restaurant um, in in um, in Scarborough
Yeah.
that literally she's been there for like almost 30 years, and now because it's like people just the little people that
You
would
know
sit
it's
down and
gone.
eat there for lunch, like for like a
Yeah.
fast 5 minute boom boom boom, and then go back to
Mm.
work. That diminishes the whole vibe of the whole little
Yeah, that
diner.
community.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
no,
And
no, it's so true, man. Even that little bagel place near you. Just
yeah,
it was so nice to go in there and read and have a coffee before the class or
yeah.
after. And now for it not being there, just kind of it is what it is. But so but have you been managed to drive anyone crazy?
No, man. I mean,
And then
in the beginning, I was like, yo, whoa, this is not good. I was finding myself drinking a couple of bottles of scotch a
of
week. You
course
know what I mean?
we feeling because I think most people, man,
You
most
know,
people feeling you get a handle.
yeah. And I just
One of the interest,
realized I was like,
one of the
I just gotta
interest.
just shake this off and just get my fight mind on. I used to go running. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Slowly with some of the guys that just getting things in tune again. We got the class back going again, and then they shut us
yeah,
back down again, and then you got these little tattletales that are like trying
I
to
know.
tell on people, and it just makes it difficult, man. It's just hopefully we
Yeah, just
just
gotta stay positive and keep moving forward,
that's
because
it.
that's what we do, anyways.
Yep.
Honestly, what other interests you into, man? Because I know you got the music, and you also. I think you'd be a great commentator. I want to say that. I think you would, man. I think you know a lot about boxing. 20 years of boxing, and most people
So
would agree, and they love the way you
I used
talk.
to do the Canadian boxing series on the Fight Network
Okay,
like a few years ago. So me and Corey Erdman now works for PBC and I think the
nice.
Zone. Corey Erdman's a spectacular boxing analyst.
Man,
Me and
you
him
can
used
be
to
on this. I think for you, I see you
yeah.
doing that very, 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 very good. Not just
I
saying it.
appreciate it, man. Maybe one day we'll get there. You know.
Well, we'll do it. We'll do
Yeah.
it. You and I.
Yes,
What
sir.
was it like, gonna say? Because you went out to face Golovkin. What was it like going out to face Golovkin? The difference between going out to face him than any other fighter. Like, what was that whole experience like?
The experience was just like the attention was on the fight. I mean, the attention was
Mm,
on Rolls and Golovkin at the time. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
But at the same time, Klung, I'm lucky. I've been around it. You know
yeah,
what I mean? I've seen my brothers go through the big fights. You know what I mean? So
yeah, man. You're in
I'm
it.
not a
You're in it.
I'm not a guy to get like into the bright lights and all that stuff. That's what you're
Mm.
there to do. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's your work. Of
That's what you
course.
work for. You work to be
Yes.
on Broadway. You work to
Look at
be.
these lights here, my friend.
You get what I'm saying? Yes, sir.
Look
It
at
ain't no
that.
it ain't no joke, right? So you can't as much as it's a big moment, you have to
Mm,
just like contain it and soak it in because the moment is yours. You get what I'm
mm,
saying?
mm.
And it wasn't like Steve was like out of his element. He actually showcased that he belonged at that level. He got caught with a shot that stopped the fight. You know what I
It's
mean?
boxing. It's
That's
boxing. It's
boxing. Yeah.
experience. It's experience. You're
Yep.
fighting
Yep.
the top of the top.
Yeah, one
Yo,
of
you
the
gotta
he was
protect that.
considered the pound for pound best
Of
outside of the
course.
last 2 3 years ago. You know
Of
what I mean?
course. So that experience, man. So that was just like, oh, everything is on edge, basically. It's heightened.
You know, since we're on your show, I'm gonna give you a heart to heart, right?
Yes, sir. I
So,
appreciate it.
I'm a guy. I'm not a boxing geek. I'm not one of these guys that are like, oh man, I swear, the one day we ever fight there, I'll be like, oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
But I always said there's two places in my life that I always want to go there, and I look at those we'll call them sanctuaries as
Mm,
important monuments in boxing. Is
yeah.
the Madison Square Garden, which is
That's number one, man.
I always said I would never go to a boxing fight in Madison Square Garden unless it's one of my fighters fighting in there.
Mm,
I would go for a basketball game. I would go for a concert. You know, I'll go for
mm.
anything else. But if it's boxing, my first experience at Madison Square Garden I would have to be a part of the show.
The
You know what I
thing
mean?
that you made that.
Right?
Yeah.
And the first time I was in Madison Square Garden, I was with Steve at the main event. So
Oh, that's too sweet, man.
yeah.
That's too sweet, man.
And the second place was the Masonic Temple with you,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
The
Oh
Masonic
yeah.
Temple was a is
You
a
really wanted to be there,
bro like the Madison Square and the Masonic Temple, like the
huh?
Masonic
Yeah.
Temple, as as um as small and compactful as that
Oh, that
room
was nice,
is,
man.
like the history that's in that room, like you
Yeah.
find like Joe Louis has fought in there, Sugar Ray Robinson's
Yeah.
fought in there.
Oh yeah.
So to have
Joe
you
Louis
to
fought
have
in that
so, so
specific spot.
yeah,
Oh man, I didn't know that.
so have you fighting there that time,
Yeah.
I was like, yo, this is, and I knew you wouldn't know, you know what I mean? So I was like,
Mm.
yo, this is a bigger
Like I
moment.
knew they were from there. I didn't know in that spot they fought because
Yeah,
obviously I
man.
love Sugar Ray Robinson and Joe Louis.
Yeah,
But
man. So so
oh, that's
so
amazing, man.
yeah, man. So even just, and then after that fight, to have Tommy Hearns come into the room and talk to you after that, it's like, yo,
Yes,
this
yes.
vibes don't lie, man. Vibes don't lie. This is a
Mm.
real
That
feeling.
was just,
Yeah.
life. Yeah, life just happens the way it happens, and you just gotta go with it. And
Yep.
things get placed in certain places, or you put yourself in those places, and take advantage of certain opportunities. But either way, like you just like you say, the vibes don't lie, you
Yep.
know. And I appreciate this, the meeting. I appreciate you being on here. Which are some of the most exciting fights you've seen live?
Wow.
Doesn't
You
Please
know,
don't say mine. I'm out of this. I'm out of this. I'm out of this. Just
I'll give you a good one. And I don't know if you ever seen this fight. It's a fight. If you get a lot of boxing people to catch this fight, and it's probably only a lot of people within Ontario that seen this fight, but it's probably the most exciting fight within the last, I'll say, even 20 years in Canadian boxing history.
who's
Is Sam Vargas, right?
okay.
Samuel Vargas from out here, right?
Okay, I know Sam.
Against Ahmad Chico, right?
Chico.
Chico is a guy that my brothers used to work with. They were trained in Montreal. I was actually working the corner with my brothers that night against Sammy, right?
Okay.
and I think these guys dropped each other. Kalunga must have been like 4 times or 5 times within like
What?
4 rounds, man.
It's
And
a
it was,
147, right?
and no, I think the fight stopped. I want to say
140?
that. Yo, it was
The
at
that weight.
140. I think 140 at the time. I
Okay.
think they're fighting at 140.
Okay.
And I think the fight got stopped within like the fifth or sixth round with like 5 knockdowns between both of the guys, man. It was unbelievable. That's a if it. I think it's
It's
got to be on
dramatic. It's
YouTube
full
somewhere.
of.
Too much, you know what I mean? And it looked like it looked like Ahmed was gonna be the one to knock out Sammy, and then Sammy came back and cracked Ahmed with a shot,
With
and
a
Ahmed
hook.
just yeah, it was that was a
Oh, is
real
that the
exciting.
bald guy? Was that there for
He
that
was,
one?
he was a real arrogant guy. You know what I mean? He's like a guy that always dressed cool, had gold on, like
Yeah.
gold trunks, like and gold. You know what I mean? He was a real suave type of guy, but could fight. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That was a good, exciting fight that I would say that I've witnessed and been a part of. Like even ring, I wasn't even part of the camp or anything. I was just helping my brothers out in the corner that night, right? But it was like
Mm.
I was in the corner, really like in the corner, like oh my
Yeah.
god, everything was oh my gosh.
Oh man, I missed that. That's the thing about boxing. That's the thing about sports, right?
Yeah.
Tell me, man, what is the next year, 2 years look like for you? What are some things that you would like to see or see, do?
Wow. It was the next 2 years. That's a long forecast, right?
Yeah,
I'm trying to see what's happening tomorrow, right?
that's true.
But
That's
um,
true. We
but
were very well
honestly,
said.
but honestly, man, I would just like if the next 2 years, man, I would just like to see first of all, just this life back to its regular. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Everybody, the whole world doing what we're meant to do is live their lives like normal human beings.
yeah,
Um, Myself per se, I mean, I want to see the gym flourish to a next
for sure,
standard. You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
A lot of gyms right now are going through some stuff. A lot of gyms ain't making it out of this. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah,
Whatever I could do to try to assist and help any coach or clubs out. If it's, I know not all of us are close by, but I mean,
hmm,
I'm on a each one teach one type of flex, man. If you got to
yeah,
do something, we work something out to make
yeah,
something work. Let's try to make it work. But I'd
for
like to
sure,
see just
for
things
sure.
just get back to going. I'd like to see you get an opportunity
Yes, sir.
to
I'm
flourish on
around.
some stuff.
We're gonna get it done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you're giving me my forecast, right? So I just want to
Oh
make
yeah,
sure. But within the two
definitely.
years, this conversation is there should
Mm.
be a bigger Christmas tree behind you.
And the new. Oh,
Right?
believe me. Tell me, man, did you used to watch tapes when you were young? A lot of fighters were asking this. What do you think about studying tapes when you're like coming up? I remember I used to do that, but
Yeah,
just
I mean, I
curious.
was I was and back in them days, it was hard. I remember when like my brothers turned pro and they started their career on the road. Like they fought a lot of
Mm.
American guys as like just like here, this
That's
is
the way to start it. Do it,
that's
yeah.
how it was. That's how we started Kalunga. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
And when you get that couple of fights where you're fighting guys on certain like I think Otis used to fight on the USA Network on Tuesday
Okay.
night fights, and
Yeah.
at them times they used to send like videotapes of like who like your guy who you're gonna be fighting, right? And then you'd have to go through
Running
the
up
video.
mountains.
Yeah, you
Ah!
have to go through video like tape like fast forward like there's no disc jump into things. You have to actually
Yeah,
wait and fast forward and see that you're
yeah,
fighting Brett Lally and
yeah,
go through a couple of things and see how it's going, right?
yeah.
And those are the things that made me like when you when Russ would get those tapes or Otis would get those tapes to come out to um to study their opponents.
Mm.
Um, I used to sit back and like watching the fights, and then I'm manually just myself watch all the other fights and act
That'll
like these
happen.
are certain guys in the gym. Like, oh, what would it be like if Dominic
Mm.
D'Amico would be fighting this guy as a heavyweight and see what Dominic can get off
Mm.
with this guy, and then my brain would start working and say, maybe if I fought this guy's a 135 pro guy. Well, how would I
Okay.
look against this type of guy? So when I'm looking
Observing.
at tapes, when you guys are fighting certain people, I'm not looking at their good traits. I'm looking at their habits.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm not just watching the fight and it's, oh, this guy's strong. Oh, this guy got power. Yeah, that's a given. You know what I mean? But you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to look at strategic and detailed things without
Mm-hmm.
getting into the whole
For sure.
explanation what I'm looking at.
For
You're
sure.
looking at certain things
Mm-hmm.
when you're watching certain fight tape.
Ah, I love it. I love it. So I'm sure people love that little bit there. Tell me, for someone who wanting to start out boxing, what would you say the first things they should know? Some basic, at least, for someone starting out. What are the first?
Um, the first thing to me is defense. Is just learning how to keep those
Mhm.
hands nice and high,
Yeah,
and just keeping your balance, that your position's there. I
yeah,
mean, come on, go back in the days, man. We used to just teach guys, and they would do this for weeks.
yeah,
One,
yeah.
two, three,
And you know,
one,
you can't
two,
say
three.
nothing. That's what it
You can't
is.
say anything. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? You just
you can't
stood
go
there.
punch the bag.
No, no, you're
Yeah,
not hitting the bag for three
yeah,
weeks. You
yeah. You
know?
gonna put, your reps. What are you doing? You put your
Yeah,
hands.
yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, but that's when the way I look at like stuff like that we're talking about Kalunga, it's like gardening, man. You know what I mean?
Mm,
When you put the earth in the ground, and as much as you water that ground to see what's gonna come out of the earth, it takes
mm,
time.
mm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It takes time, man. You know what I mean? And a lot of people just don't have patience anymore, man. You know?
Yeah, no, no, that's true. You like you were saying earlier, you want the instant gratification. You know,
Yeah.
I want to say, man, I've seen you put in the work every day, building people, making people stronger. And this is not just like corny stuff. This is real stuff. And yeah, just you've put it in the grind. This is why I love to have you on here now, man, because it's like to me, it feels like a special moment. I'm always gonna remember this, and I'm saving this. What is something that you seen in people when you're teaching them, whether professional fighters, people trying to lose weight, that what was the hardest thing they had to overcome that you see for most people? You know,
Good question, man. You know, I'm gonna call you. You're gonna be the. I'm not gonna. My show for you is gonna be the Mopra. That's what I'm gonna
ah,
call you, Mopra.
Oprah.
Mopra. They're not Oprah. You're
Oh, you
Mopra,
saw
bro.
the everlasting shine in the sun. Yo.
I think that's a good question though. I think with a lot of people what my premise when I train a lot of people like just regular, if it's the fighters, if it's people that are trying to lose weight, if people that are trying to get confidence,
Yeah.
is to see I want to see their threshold point first. You know what I mean? I
Mm,
want to try to get them to that
that
point where
far.
they're like not exhaustion, but like where they're
Mm,
like where challengers like, whoa, right?
mm,
Because
mm,
once you have that time to stop and then you get back on it again, I wouldn't say the anxiety, but the exhilarance that you have to get
mm,
going again, man, is
mm.
it's a mind challenge. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
why sometimes you see certain people, Kalunga, you see it in the gym. Some people hit the back till they start crying. So I'm talking about the
Mm,
regular members.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like the truth comes out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You feel like, man, I'm
Yeah,
breaking.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
I think that's what I think with me with when I'm training people. I think that's what I try to pick off and try to find right away and like
Mm.
see you'll see their integrity, man. You'll see like how hard they
So just
want
the
to try
will.
to. Yeah,
That's what
you
it
know what
really
I mean.
comes down to at the end of it, you know?
Yep, yep,
Is yeah, is trying not to crack. And what's happening everything right now is like the fight. Just trying not to
yep,
crack, you
yep.
know?
A lot of people
Um
right now, Kalunga's weak, man. A lot of people are just weak and just like they follow what they hear and they're after like, oh my
that's
gosh.
the thing too. You have to do your own research. Don't just listen to whatever. You have to know yourself. I
Yeah.
was gonna say. I remember going to your mom's house. You mentioned it earlier, her cooking. I remember going there for the Jolay's fight, and you know, I think that was the key to victory. Like, I just wanted to mention that.
You
That
know
was
what,
good,
man?
man. That was
That
good.
Kulunga, that is like
That was
something
good.
in my it just we grew up doing that like forever. Like the amount of people that's eating it in my mom's. I'm talking
Uh,
about like from Lennox Lewis right up
yeah.
and down that's eating in our house. before a fight, after a fight, during a fight, in a camp. My mom is
Mm.
just, she's known to do that. Like, she didn't know that we were like, oh, you guys are here? Come, I'm gonna cook dinner. And right away there was like
Just
food
bang
for,
everything
you know,
like a buffet,
yeah, right,
rice, soups,
right.
man,
But I think
dessert.
she's just used to like doing that, like, cause she's been doing it forever. You know what I mean?
Mm. But you know that makes you feel so good. I just felt so welcomed, and I think
Yeah,
that I didn't feel like an outsider. And as much people like you coming in as the opponent, I'm never the opponent.
never.
That's never my mindset.
Yeah,
Why am I the opponent? You have to prove to me.
yep.
And I just want to don't be so boastful. I'm saying so that welcoming that I felt that was so
You're
good.
home. You're home, man. You're with me.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you very much for that. You know, we've had a few fights with everyone. What are some of the most satisfying, or what are the is number one you'd say that you say that
The
every time?
The Drole one was a good satisfaction because as much as they even tried to like jam us, you know what I mean? We pulled it off. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So one thing I really relish Cologne is when we go to Montreal and we just take it from them. You know what I
mm,
mean? Because
mm.
especially me because I'm from out there. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So when you go out, when I go back,
you have
when
to take it.
like I just finished telling you, when I go back home,
Mm.
we're home.
Yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
we're
So they take
home.
we're never the opponent when we go back home because
Yeah.
we're home. You know what I'm saying? I just
Mm,
them guys are looking. Everybody else is looking at us as the opposition, but not realizing this is our foundation. This is our stomping ground. So it's gonna take a
mm,
hell for us to take it away from us. You know what I mean?
mm,
So them type
mm.
of fights is what I really like. I like when we're on the road. I like when it's
Me too.
we, I love that, man. I love that more than fighting at home, man, because I like when the people get quiet. I like when it's like the oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I, I,
I
I
like those.
yeah. I don't like when like people like the mothers of the opposite guys get sad and cry and all that type of stuff.
No, no.
I like to disappoint everybody when it doesn't go their way. You get me?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's Montreal, man. So that's number one.
Yeah, man.
Let's say you feeling. Okay, so that was the last fight. So
That was the last one. So it was the last refreshing memory that I have, right?
okay, okay. Tell me, I have so many funny memories from the gym, man. People walking in thinking they're tough and saying, "Hey, I just came out of jail. You're a tough guy. You want to fight?" Do you have any funny story like that? You just want to share with people here and just let them know from. I remember one time this guy came in. I think he wanted to spar or something on the same day. He was actually a big guy, like I think he went in with some MMA guy. I don't know, kicked his leg off. But do you remember this guy? Do you
I,
remember do you remember any people just walking in randomly?
Kunga, this
Do you
happens.
have anyone walking in randomly
This
trying to
happens
challenge you?
honestly. This happens in the
And
gym at least 3 4 times a month.
and then they
Yeah,
walk out.
yeah, and they do, and like they just realize
It's too hard.
this is not like Fox and the Fiddle street fight around the corner. It's not that. It's not the parking lot fight. You know what I mean? Um, man, I'll be honest with you, man. I have so many stories, Kunga, that um, I could start a TV show. You know what I mean? Like
Oh my
that.
god.
I'll give you
We'd have to.
I'll give you a good one. I don't know if you remember this guy. There was a guy in the gym that said that, yeah, man, I got a bunch of fights. I want to come out here and train with you, man. You could get my pro license and get me going.
Oh, I think I already know.
And I said, nah, man, I don't think you're serious about this thing, man. I got to see how many fights you have. He goes, I got 50 fights. I said, oh, you got 50 amateur fights? He goes, yeah. I said, how many fights do you want? He goes, 50 and all.
Ooh,
I'm like, wow, it's pretty impressive, man. But
it's better than the.
but you can see that the guy's talking crap. Long story short, he was very resilient, bought a membership, started coming to the gym, but he never wanted to come during class times. He always wanted to come at his own time and train. So one day he comes in the gym during, I think it could have been like a 3 o'clock, 3:45 ish type of time, and he's
Mm,
getting the bag and training. So I'm like, take a look, and I said, let me take a look at this guy, what he's doing. And during the break, Lunga, the bell rang. The guy
mm.
had his gloves, and the guy went over and picked up his drink, and he's picking up a can of Coke. and he's drinking.
For a break.
He's drinking the Coke. I said, yo. I said, what are you doing, man? He goes,
Mm.
I'm on break. I said, no, man. I said, you don't drink those type of things during the rounds on break, man. He goes, who says? I said, you're not supposed to. He goes, is that a rule?
Ooh,
And I
right
looked,
away.
I looked at him. I said, very good question, man. He goes, but guess what? If I became that professional fighter and did that to the ring, Coca-Cola would give me a big sponsorship.
Oh,
I said, you know what? I said, you
wow.
know what? You're right about that Coca-Cola. And that's how he got it. His nickname was Coca-Cola.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
That guy,
You
long
continued?
story, that guy ended up, it's as ridiculous as this sound, and you guys will, I could give you the name realistically if I remembered his name, but we call him Coca Cola. He ended up getting his boxing license, Kalunga, set
Mm,
up himself to have a fight. I want to say out in New Brunswick
okay.
on a show for with E. McKillop. Long story short, he missed his flight to the fight for the weigh-ins, got to the weigh-ins late, did a bunch of craziness,
Mm.
and when it was time to get his medicals and weigh-in done, he told the doctor, he goes, oh, I'm not fighting.
Yeah, that's the person I thought I knew.
Yes, man.
Ah, that's the person I thought. Yeah, that's funny.
And he
Anyway,
didn't, he didn't end up fighting that guy. So that guy's blacklisted across Canada from boxing.
tell me, man, what is the difference? Thank you, first of all, for the stories. What is the difference teaching amateur fighters and professional fighters between that?
I think teaching the amateurs. I think there's no real difference on teaching them, right? Just because all the amateur guys want to get to that pro level,
Yeah.
right? I think with the notion on the amateur guys, I try to let them know that the better your resume is as an amateur boxer, the more
Mm,
decorated you'll be as a professional fighter. So a lot of
mm,
things that you want to do, if it's the tournaments, if it's the fighting, you got to make sure you try to win and take it from these guys
mm.
as bad as you can. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Because
yeah,
if the amateur system, the judging is a little bit different. If you're
yeah,
in control, it's ring generalship. The
yeah.
defense has to be a little more tighter. The slipping and weaving counts, but it's more of a block and catch type of fast system and
Mm.
volume type of punches. But you have to look like you're in control at every second of the round. I think a lot more. Um, a lot more, specifically more busier than the next guy that
Oh
you're
yeah, for
fighting with,
sure.
right? But and then
And having the
after,
best fighters usually not necessarily the best fighters win in amateur.
no,
If
but
you
but
know what you're doing, yeah. So teaching, yeah.
But also when you get those guys that are just like we'll call them typewriter punchers that are just pop, 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 just going crazy in the amateur system that just know how to win off of volume. When they
Mm.
get into the pros, it's sort of hard to just taper off that detailing because you could throw those volume shots all the time. When you get those guys that could just walk in and just weather the storm and then just
You
come
know,
out with a
that's
shot.
exactly like when I looked that fight that just happened, Lopez and Lomachenko. Like Lomachenko is an excellent amateur type fighter with that style, and he's still a good pro. But Lopez's most his style was like that catch, he's like walk in, is more professional style, even though he
Yeah.
had amateur background. But his style was more professional fitted. Whereas I think if that fight was an amateur, yeah, obviously Lomachenko with his style, so it sometimes doesn't favor it. It doesn't transition so well.
I think also with that fight, just on a whole, I think just the size factor was a
Yeah,
big deal also, right? I think
yeah.
Lopez was just too big of a lightweight for Lomachenko. That's not a natural lightweight. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he's a guy that should be fighting realistically at 126, 130 at the most, right?
Mm.
The opportunity's there. He beat everybody to get at that level. I'm not saying it's nothing wrong, right? But I mean,
Yeah.
there's stages, man. Like I mean, he could have. I'm not saying he could have stayed away from that fight because he's a fighter. You know what I mean? Lomachenko,
Yeah.
you want to fight? He's that guy. Like his mentality is on the right place. But
Mm.
it was just a too big of an opposition at that time. You know.
Mm. Honestly, what do you think of the Roy versus Tyson fight? And do you think Tyson moving forward that has anything like happening? Or do you think he's gonna fight anyone? Do you think he's even
Um,
a chance there?
I think
What do you think of the fight, even, man?
the fight was fantastic. You know what I mean? Like Mike really looked the part. Mike looked like he was in shape. Mike
Mike
looked
was
like
serious, man.
he
Like,
was serious, man. He looked like he looked. And Roy's my guy, but he looked better than Roy. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Roy
I
just
agree.
looked like he was going through the motions,
We're trying to
not like
survive.
yeah, but also I think the weight carrying that
Yeah,
weight is a
yeah,
different. He's fighting a guy that's like a truck that's
yeah,
not stopped going
yeah.
forward. You know what I mean?
Because whatever you're putting is not affecting him.
Right, you know, because
Mm.
Roy's not a natural heavyweight. You know what I mean? It's
Mm.
just what it is, right? Um, but at the same time, Michael should just do these we'll call them these exhibitions with like
Okay.
the
Legends.
Legends League,
Yeah.
right? And just keep that going that way because I would love to watch it. I mean, if they're talking about doing like tennis players against tennis players type of stuff, so
Okay.
it should be a dope little thing if it turns out properly. The one thing I don't want to see with this whole thing is somebody get hurt when it comes to the fight.
Oh, for sure. Then that will just ruin boxing,
Yeah,
especially someone that big.
right.
Yeah. What are some opportunities that you'd like out there for if people that are listening want to reach out and support grants? And what are some opportunities you'd like to, like, hey man, you know what I mean? It's time now because you've been putting in the work, man.
I put it
I
to
know there's a lot of people
I'll,
watching that want to support.
I'll say this. I'll say this. I see a lot of people, a lot of coaches in the
Mm,
past get a lot of different opportunities and not do right by them. And I
mm,
know if I had an opportunity, just a millimeter of a chance, like certain people's have, I'll be gone. Just on my work ethic. You know what I
yeah.
mean? I don't know how to render for defeat. You know, I'm just
Mm,
not built like that. I mean, yeah, you go through certain things, you go through certain obstacles, but losing's not an option, man.
no,
You know what I mean? Like
defeat is not an option. It's true.
it can't go that way, man. I live my life like that. I try to let my kids understand, like,
Yeah.
as much as
Yes,
things
sir.
seem a little bit easy, and it just seems like it's always there. There's a lot of work behind it. You know what I mean? And you just gotta stay on par, man.
Gotta stay wearing this Christmas sweater. Look.
Who's that guy in the sweater? Who's that guy?
That's the abdominal snowman. You know what he does?
And
That's me.
Rudolph.
That's me right there. Yeah. RG, thank you so much for coming on the show. Where can people find you, man? I'm gonna have you back. Please, you're welcome anytime. I want to
I
have you back.
appreciate it, man. This
You know,
was
I'll set everything up, and I'll definitely have you back and continue this. I love this.
no, this
Now,
was
where can
fun,
people
man. We
find you,
didn't we,
man?
we, we didn't even get to talk on a lot of different things. I thought
Oh,
you
we
were
have
gonna.
a lot to talk about. We're living that. This is a little snippet of just smell and get some little knowledge, from you.
Yeah, people can find me when the gym opens back up at what is it, Rival TO Grant MMA. I think that's
Yeah,
the Instagram.
Insta.
The website's grantmma.ca. You can hit me up on that to get my email off of that somewhere.
You
Um,
can reach me. I'll
you
reach
can
out
get
to him.
call the Kalunga. Kalunga knows where to
Yeah,
find me. Uh,
anytime, brother.
that's it, man. If you got my number, just give me a call. If you know me, you know me.
Thank you so much, RG, for being on the show.
No
I
problem. Man.
really
Thank you, brother. I
appreciate that.
appreciate
Thank
it,
you for
man.
taking the time. We're gonna have you back here. I'm just gonna do this little thing here. This show can also be heard on the Barn Burner Radio Network on its 122 platforms. The Her Network is part of the Barn Burner Media Network. Please check us out on barnburner.ca for all news and programming. Barn Burner, watch it, hear it, live it, download it. We love Barn Burner. We love ZINGOTV. We love Rival to Grant MMA. We love you all. Thank you so much. IG, brother, thank you.
Respect, brother.
We'll talk.
Yes, sir.
Have a good night.